Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look here at the PLAMAX Mari kit here, Mari Makinami Illustrious kit from Evangelion, of course, from Rebuild of Evangelion, I should say. And taking a look at the past two kits from Chainsaw Man in this new line of plastic model buildable figure model kits that we have here. These are really cool, a lot of fun for someone like me who prefers to actually build your figures. This is definitely preferable to something like just kind of your standard UFO prize grabber, like standard character statues or whatever. So here, all right, here on my desk, for example, I've still got the Makima kit here, which was a lot of fun. These go together quite quickly, so we'll just take a look at the box and the contents, and then it'll be a quick build, and then we'll take a look at how the figure is going to look when it's all built up. Let's go ahead and get into it. So starting off, taking a look at the box here, we've got just a nice big photograph of the painted model kit here on the front. It's not going to look quite that nice straight out of the box, but the color separation and everything, as we've seen with the past two releases, has been really nice. So I mean, they do look really good right out of the box, but I can tell this one has been painted. You got the official Evangelion sticker right there. All of our titling down here at the bottom. This is a ready to assemble non-scale plastic model kit. Non-scale, though, I would measure it probably about 1/8, 1/7 scale, I think. On the sides of the box, we have a couple of different images of the kit. I believe with the first two kits, though, we had like a full size, it was like a 1-to-1 scale, like size photograph of the kit on the sides of the box. Not the case in this release. Here on the ends, you can see the same thing there, but around on the back of the box, I believe this photo might be about 1-to-1 here on the back, so that should give you kind of a good size, kind of a good idea of the size of it. But then we do have another couple of photos here showing the front and back of the model, a couple of detail images there, and then a shot of the runners, of course, just because, like I said, we do have a lot of really nice color separation there with the runners. Let's go ahead and pop it open and see what we got in here. We'll take a look at the runners in just a moment. But let's first just take a look here at the instruction manual. We do in here also have a little advertisement for the Evangelion color line here from Gaia Notes. So I know that in the US these can be difficult to get, but here Gaia Notes makes a Evangelion color series of paints, and so these are ones that are specifically for Mari. As for the instruction manual, it just features the same box art here on the front. On the back side is just the end of our construction, so all the construction will be in full color, which does just help make the process go that much quicker. But the parts list is not in color, but there's our full parts list, and then all of the construction here, like I said, is in full color, so it makes it that much easier, that much quicker for you to put the kit together. And it has a fair amount of parts, but a fairly quick assembly if you're not wanting to take, too long. But of course, the great thing about this is that if you want to custom paint this or change the colors or just add, some shading or whatever you might want to do with it, I really like the fact that you can build it yourself. So first off, our A runner is our only skin tone parts here for the kit, which is just going to be for the neck and the face. I will say I think the face on this one looks fantastic, probably the best looking face from the series that we've had so far. It could just be the illustration style. Maybe I just prefer the illustration style of this one more than the Chainsaw Man character illustration style perhaps, but I think it does look really good. It has a really nice kind of matte satiny finish to it as well, which looks really nice. Runner B is going to be all of our hair parts here in red with, once again, some very, very thin parts on here, so you're going to want to be really careful with those. But I mean, it's always nice to see some really fine detail on these parts. Runner C is going to be some parts here in a black color. It's like a really dark gray, basically black, for some of the black details around within the body. And then runners D and E are going to be all of our pink parts for the kit. Runner E being mostly the parts there for the legs, as you can see. But runner D here does also have some pre-printing on it here with the 05 printed on that part there for the front of the chest. The 5 on the back is actually cut out, so you can see a lot of just cut out spaces here in the armor where we're going to have some really nice color separation. I say armor, but I guess I should say suit. Anyway, here's runner F, which is in red for a couple of details around on the body, and the glasses, once again, extremely thin little part there, so you're gonna have to be super duper careful. Runner G is a few parts in a kind of slightly bluish tone off-white color here. Runner H is a few parts in a kind of bluish purplish gray kind of color there. Runner I, a few parts here in a very nice looking blue. And finally, last but not least, runner J in black is our base plate part, which I like the fact that it's smaller. I didn't really like with the Chainsaw Man, the bases were very large, like it seemed like too large for the figure in my opinion, but this one's smaller, which I like And alright, here she is all built up now. Once again, I'm a big fan of the design of this and a big fan of the line in general. I do really like these quite a lot. In theory, that said, I don't like this one quite as much as the first two, the Chainsaw Man ones. That said, this is like a more complex design compared to the Chainsaw Man models, I feel like. So I think the designers for this kit had a little bit more work ahead of them and just designing the kit out. But for whatever reason, like the fit is not quite as nice with this one. You have more seam lines and parts that are just like fitting kind of a bit more loosely. I did have to use a little bit of glue on a couple of the small parts that just felt like they just weren't gonna stay in without using a little bit of glue on it. And it just kind of overall feels a little bit kind of janky compared to the first two releases from Chainsaw Man. So that's a bit unfortunate. That said, I mean, at the end of the day, it still looks great, which is the most important thing. But I think if you really wanted it to get it to look its best, you do have a little bit more work cut out for you with this one compared to the other two models we have out in the line to compare it to so far. So just take a closer look here. For example, like the glasses parts, I did go ahead and glue those just so those aren't going to move anywhere. They were like a little bit wiggly. These white parts here on the side of the head, just like kind of the hair, and you can kind of see that little bit of like wiggle right there. That's just where the neck is plugged into the body. But when like putting these hair parts together and then connecting in like the face to the hair and then the bangs in the front, it wasn't really staying together like very tightly for some reason. Just like the fit on those parts just doesn't seem quite right, which is kind of weird. And then like here in the shoulder, for example, you can see like it's got seam lines on it here and across here. And that's not necessarily like too out of the ordinary or unexpected, but it just feels like to get those like really pressed all the way and to get rid of that seam line, it's gonna take a little bit of work on these. Even these red parts up here at the top, they don't have like a real good locked position that they're set into. Let me also just take off the head so I can see like if you can just kind of like slide that part back and forth. So it's just the kind of thing that you're gonna wanna probably just glue some of these parts in. And it doesn't by any means mean that the model is bad. For me personally, I don't really find that as that much of an issue. I'm just like pointing out to you guys, like here, for example, where the nub is on these parts, because it was really thin. Like when I was cutting off that nub, it broke out that whole little piece of there, so it's very thin. So on areas where you have the gates on really, really thin parts, just make sure you're being extra careful with those. Down here on the legs, like these blue and white parts that wrap around the body there, just can be quite thin. And you can see like here at the back, these blue parts don't actually fit like flat onto like the suit. It's kind of like a little gap. It's like sticking up a little bit. So that said, the fact that everything's color separated as nicely as it is, like you have a separate white parts for the inside of the hands, these separate black parts for the outside, just the way that the colors are separated out. It is going to be a kit that should be very easy to paint just in terms of the color separation. You won't really have much to do in the way of masking, but you will have some work to do in the way of just removing seam lines. But like I was saying before when we were taking a look at the face part, I do think that the face and the pre-painting on that does look really good. I think that it looks better than the previous two kits out in the line so far. The hair detail, I mean, is really nice. You have all these really thin parts there for the hair, which does make, you know, cutting out the parts and like sanding the nubs and everything does take a little bit of time, and you do have to be really, really careful with it. But I mean, those parts do end up looking really nice, and it's harder to see because of the hair, but the like color separation there at the back, even the 5 and the red parts just kind of poking out there on the back of the suit, the color separation is really nice. And for a quick comparison here with the Makima kit, you can see they're right about the same size. As for the scale of them, I think I would put it probably there around 1/7 scale, I think, something like that. Checking the height here from the base plate up to the top of the head, it's coming out to just over about 20 centimeters in height there. So I gotta tell you guys, I do have a little bit of mixed feelings on this one. I am still a huge fan of the line in general, just because, like I've been saying, I do like the fact that it's a statue figure that you can actually build yourself, because that means if you want a custom paint or you want to do any kind of custom work on it, or even if you don't want to do any painting or anything else, I just prefer to be able to actually build something rather than just having a figure that you just take out of the box and to stick up on the shelf. I like the building experience, so I really like these for the fact that it is something that you can build yourself. And as for Mari here in particular, I think it's a really great looking sculpt. I like the pose, I like the color separation, it's a great looking figure, but there are a little bit of issues just with the fit of the parts and things like that you will have to do a little bit more work. It may not be like as satisfying of a building process as some other kits, but I think, you know, once you do put in the work on it, it is going to look really nice. So for me, at the end of the day, that's what's most important, but you guys can, you know, make that decision for yourself as to whether this is something that you really are interested in or not. And let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this particular kit and what you think about the line in general here from PLAMAX. If you guys have any experience with them so far, or if it's something that you're looking to try out, let me know. And as always, guys, if you want to check out some different model kits or just figures and statues, stuff like that, you can check that all out at the link in the video description down below to USA Gundam Store. Got all sorts of stuff there for you guys to check out. And as always, thank you so much for all of your support too. Liking the video, commenting, subscribing if you're not subscribed. It helps out a lot. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, hope you all have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.